How much of your life is taken up by doing all this with the birds?
Well...
How much did you know about birds before you started all this?
Nothing.
Okay, so...
Hold on.
Do we have a bad birdie?
They get into everything.
Rockhopper here. Today I'm with Carol, and she's got a lot of babies, but they're not the kind of babies you're thinking about. So Carol, tell me about these babies of yours.
I am a 501c3 rescue. I started off by trapping dogs and kind of went into hand feeding abandoned baby kittens. Used to be with the big group, and then, you know, kind of everyone kind of went their way. I started with somebody contacted our rescue about 2 baby pigeons at a construction site, and they couldn't be there. I mean, they had to go. So I said, okay, I'll take them. Well, that was the beginning. So I want to say maybe 9 years later, and somewhere through that I started partnering with our local lake, Hesperia Lake, and helping the birds down there. So now I've become the bird lady, and I help people all over. I help people out of the area, in some of the Facebook groups. I help people in other countries. This is my little group now, and let me introduce you to a couple of them.
All right, let's go say hi.
Okay. This is Lou. He's got splay leg. He cannot walk. He would basically drag, and unfortunately then he would be in his poop. All my indoor birds, except for my little sparrow, is in poop suits. I change a lot of poop suits every day. He gets around, and I put this little toilet paper roll here. It doesn't stay where I want it, but it's to give him some lift, and then also too, to keep his hindquarters out of his poop is what my goal is.
Okay, so these are basically birdie diapers.
Absolutely. Yep, bird suits, poop suits, birdie diapers. They're known as quite a few things. And they've become quite catchy. In the time that I've been doing bird rescue, a lot of people are actually keeping the birds, because I show them, oh, you know, this is Min in her little poop suit, or, you know, and I've got a cute little picture of them all in a row. They make really nice pets. So I got a lot of people that have actually decided to keep them. And there is a lot of different poop suits out on the market now.
How long do they last until you have to change out a poop suit?
I change twice a day. I could probably change more, but it does get a little costly. Let me show you. We're going to flip around this way. So this is my collection of poop suits. As you can tell, I've got quite a few, and they're pretty costly. I've tried making them. I'm not a sewer. I just decided to buy them. I do a combination. I'll show you a couple different ones. And this has been over time that I will put like 2 here.
Okay, now why do you have poop suits on all the birds?
Because I'm a very clean person, and I do not like crap everywhere. This, and then I flip it around. Now remember, we've already got one in here. And then I could even show you how they go on. They're pretty interesting. But
okay, you want to suit up a bird with a poop suit?
Yeah. Let me show you Twizzle.
Say hi to Twizzle.
Hey, oop.
There you go.
Twizzle's a little nervous. So Twizzle came in to rescue. As you can see his beak. He actually has 2 broken jaws. And he was stitched in the corner to try to bring it. It wasn't going to fix it. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to fix it. But to try to keep it from going even farther. So obviously he has a difficult time eating. I actually hand feed him twice a day. And then he's kind of on his own, and hopefully he can supplement.
All right, so we're going to get Twizzle suited up.
Yeah.
So this is a pigeon diaper change.
So what I do is this. Oh, that one's clean. So let me just grab one over here. I ran out of my long ones. They're actually coming today. I calculated I go through over 40 of these twice a day. So I use about 80. Yeah.
And these diapers are, for the most part, reusable. I mean, except for the liner.
Right, of course. And I hand wash them when they're dirty. As you can tell, I got the system pretty down. And normally I've been using longer ones, but these are regular size. Tack that on there, hold it around, push it through, and there we are. we're good to go. So this one's going to be a little bit big on Twiz. He's kind of a smaller bird. So I'm going to go ahead and put him back in. I have different sizes. I have larger and then I have smaller. And then my little doves.
Okay, so that's a dove.
Yeah, this is a size 7
Size.
according to this size. That company.
Do you make some of these diapers?
I've attempted to because on the most part they're like $38 each through this company, and I like this company. They do sell them different places, Amazon, but the problem is that the pouches are very short. And they really shouldn't be in these suits non-stop. So I have an outside aviary. They spend so many hours a day out of their suit.
Okay, so you're suiting up Twizzle.
So there's Twiz, okay? And then I'm going to warm just a little bit of water. It's not going to be hot, but I don't like to shock him with cold water when I'm hand feeding him. So I supplement his feeding because I really can't tell how much he's eating a day. I've had him probably 2 years, and then about probably 4 or 5 months ago, I noticed he was going down for the count. I just didn't realize he was just totally malnutritioned. I mean, I'd seen him picking at food, but you never know actually how much he's getting up in his mouth because it's taken its toll on his tongue, having this scissor beak as well. He hasn't for the last couple days. I don't know if he's been eating a lot on his own, so I usually wet his mouth down a little bit. Normally I have a little towel that he leans on. Oh, see, he hasn't been wanting to, but we'll give it our best shot. So I just take a little bit. This is what he's been doing. He really, okay, I got a spoonful down.
Okay.
Nope, he doesn't want to do it. It's stressing him out. And then I rinse his mouth through. For the last couple days, he has not wanted me to do it, but I do try it. Twice a day, I try to get 20 spoonfuls down.
So he's just not feeling like eating right now.
Well, I've also set up these other little dishes. I don't know if you can come around here, but I've also set up these. I've tried everything. You know, I've tried mush. I've tried all kinds of stuff to just because, I mean, obviously the goal is to get him self-sufficient where I'm not, you know, nobody wants to be having to push food down someone else's throat. So I've rigged these up and I try to keep everything really clean because if he would figure it out, which he has not, okay, if he would scoop his beak down in there, which maybe it's not possible because his tongue isn't as long anymore. You know, it takes its toll because he's not getting the moisture. Right. You know, he doesn't have the saliva. A lot of them, like say chickens, crossbeaks, they can dig down. They're putting their whole beak down in and they're getting a mouthful. But he has not figured that out. But I do try to give him a deep dish. Then I've also got crumbles. I try to keep all the food high, like this one over here. Mm-hmm. But I have noticed he likes to peck. So that's going to be obviously a lot harder process for him.
So right now, how many birds do you have in your care?
I want to say I have 14, and it's a very nice little group on the most part. They don't all get along. I've got different sections and crates, you know, but with the pigeons, everybody has a mate right now. It doesn't matter if it's like these two. Oh, there's Gray. This is Mindy. Hi, Mindy. Mindy's actually sitting on an egg. It's not fertile because they wear the suits unless they're outside. And her partner is Gray. And Gray, he came in, he was getting picked on out at a friend's barn. It just was a really bad situation. So I took him, and he's always been a nervous little bird. And after, I think we're going on a year, I figured that's probably just his personality. One of the reasons why I really fell in love with pigeons, because as you can tell, I'm a pigeon lover, is back more when I first started rescuing, I had these babies that I hand-fed and they were starting to learn how to fly. And at the house that I was in, I had a ceiling fan. And one of them got up there and started bumping how pigeons do this little walk thing. He got the ceiling fan. He's figured out he started to get the ceiling fan moving a little bit. Well, his sibling, because pigeons usually have two babies, the sibling got up there and they got the ceiling fan moving. And I have a video of it somewhere. It was years and years ago, but I always think of that, and they were so cute because they were actually moving the fan, and they knew they were moving it. So once they really started to fly, then they really started getting the ceiling fan moving. It was really cute. It's a cute story.
So it became a pigeon merry-go-round.
It did. It did. It was very entertaining. Gray just laid an egg today. They're getting into maturing. So Min laid, that was her first egg she laid. She will lay another one in probably 3 days is the way it goes.
Okay.
Pigeons lay 2 eggs. And then this morning when I checked Gray's suit, Gray had an egg. So these 2 girls have partnered up, which is fine. They love each other. You know, they hang out. Such is life. Here's Carmel. Carmel came in. I get a lot of calls. I'm very well known for birds throughout our area. So I got a call about Carmel, and that's obviously the brownish one. They found Carmel, and they said Carmel had a tumor. I said, how do you know that? And they said, well, because it's got a big mass hanging off his butt. And I said, okay, you know, I'll come get him. And people hold on to birds way too long. When you find a bird, and if you don't know what you're doing, you should get it help right away. Yeah. So I went over there, picked up Carmel that day. They had it in a little dog crate with bread sticking up at the top down so he could eat it, which bread is the worst. Bread is the worst for ducks, chickens, anything, you know what I'm saying? It has no nutritional value, and they'd had him over almost a week. So anyways, I picked Carmel up. Go ahead, I look at his rear. It's a ball of cement poop. That's what Carmel's problem was. It was not a tumor. He had poop stuck. I don't even know really how he survived not being able to poop. Maybe it was just pushing out and, you know, collecting more. But it was this big. It took me 45 minutes under semi-warm water, and I was picking. Yeah, you got to be gentle, obviously, because I didn't know what was all under it. I mean, I just knew I had a mass of poop. You know, maybe he had a tumor under it. I don't really know. And I was trying to. I had the faucet sprayer on, but you know, you want to be gentle too. You don't want to blast him. It took me 45 minutes to soak and chip and get that. And you know what? He was fine. After that, I was like, oh my gosh, he was totally fine. I don't know what caused that. I don't know what happened, but he is totally fine. Now, I have noticed some things with Carmel. He has a little bit of a balance. Oh, you know what? Carmel laid an egg too. Carmel's a girl. Like I said, it's the season. It's spring, so all of my new ones are starting to lay eggs. So Carmel is a girl. He does have a little bit of balance.
That's Carmel.
And Snowy.
Snowy is
and
right beside.
And they're a mated pair.
Tell me this one here.
That one's Twiz to the left. And then we've got Tippy.
That's Tippy.
That's Tippy.
Okay, and then how about this one?
That one's Gray. That's pretty nervous.
Okay.
And then, aw, here's Min.
That's Mindy.
Mindy. Min. And she's the one sitting on the egg, even though her partner is Gray.
Can you make her make that noise again?
Yeah. She's actually my pet, if you want to call it that. She kind of hooked up. First she was with Tyne. Tyne's in another cage.
Okay.
First she was with Tyne, you know, because they're young, you know, they're trying to, you know, they're starting to find their mates because they do mate for life. Tyne is a little wound up. We got all different personalities here. So Tyne's kind of a wound up bird. And these 3, they came in close. Tyne, this one, and Tip. So then she took a liking to Gray. Gray is very mellow, but Gray is a very nervous bird. So they have matched up.
How did it come to your mind to start rescuing birds?
Well, it kind of started with those first 2, and oh my gosh, I love pigeons and they're adorable. Out of all the birds, pigeons are my thing. After I got those first 2 from the construction site, it was a house being built, and they had to go because I said, can't you just wait? You know, just wait a little while. They actually, from the time a pigeon lays its eggs, 30 days later, they fledge. So what fledge means, they leave the nest. And I'm not saying that they fly immediately. A lot of times they're grounded. Pretty much with pigeons, 30 days later, they almost look like an adult. They look like they're a small adult. The parents will still feed them and stuff, but they'll take flight shortly after. So after I got those two, I just loved birds after that. There's very few people in our area that does birds, so it became catchy. So I might talk to up to 6 people a day. In the last 2 weeks, I've done 2 owls that have came out of the nest. Were too young, and so they actually went down to a rehabber. And then the other one we've got out at the local lake. I help with the birds out there, and we lost sight of him. He was grounded, which is not good. So he was put up in a high tree. And then we lost sight of him after that day, and this morning they just called me and he popped up again. We're kind of in the middle because of where he's at. That lake can be really, really crazy. Originally, when he was put up in the tree, it was out by the soccer fields, and unfortunately there's going to be a zillion people out there. It's not good, and then you get your crazy people who think, oh, they're cute little pets. No, they're not. They're wild birds. You are supposed to have a license, to do this, and they need to live out in the wild. They're wild birds.
So are all the birds that you have in here, are they all wild? Mm-hmm. Okay, are you kind of known as the bird woman of Victorville?
Yes, the bird lady.
The bird lady.
Yes. For those of you that are familiar with Facebook, I would say probably within 3 weeks it's going to start going crazy. So I will get anywhere from 4 tags to 20 tags on a post. That's how crazy it is. And I am actually trying to slow down, so I'm referring a lot of birds out. So this is Hobbles. Hobbles came in with a bad infection in her left leg. She did have her leg at that time. I've had Hobbles for about 4 years now. I actually asked the vet if he would amputate. I mean, it was that bad. It was really, really bad. But he said no, it would cause her more problems than good. He said, you just ride this out. But I mean, she was on antibiotics for months and months, and wraps and, all different stuff to try to help this. Eventually, I want to say, been about 1.5 years now, she got a really bad infection again, and it was oozing and just like really, really bad. So I got that cleared up. We did the antibiotics and then the oral, treatments and everything. But her leg did dry up and then it fell off. She only has a stub probably about this long, which is unfortunate. I really wish she would have been able to keep a little bit more just to have a little more balance on it. But she gets around. She's got a little bin, and obviously she can't get in and out of it. So I put her in the bin at least 3 times a day so that she can eat. And then I take her out and she wanders around. She free flows through, she's got her little path, and she'll wander a little bit, but because of her balance, the other birds go by her, or they decide, I want to argue with her, I want to fight with her, she'll end up flipping over on her back. So I don't want her to go through that stress. So she's one that they all come out. They all come out through the house, but it's spring. It's nesting season. Most of them, even though I bring them out, they want to go back.
But you do let them fly around the house.
Yeah, we'll bring a few out.
Oh yeah, so that's where the diapers come in handy, or the poop pants, or whatever you want to call them.
Put up your cookies because they'll get into them. I also have 2 down here, Snowball. I really wasn't planning on keeping Snowball because she's just really big, and when they all come in, they go into quarantine. But she's just so big when she would decide she wanted to argue with the other ones. But she ended up hooking up with Tyne, and Tyne is actually named for Tiny Whiny, because when I got him and was hand feeding him, he whined non-stop.
Tiny Whiny, huh?
Yeah. For whatever reason, Snowy does not like Tyne. And she gets everybody going where they're all chasing Tyne to where he just gets exhausted. That's why I decided to keep Snowball, because now Tyne has a partner. Come on, Lou. It's good for them to have a change of environment. That one's Lou. He's got a really bad splay leg. Mindy, do you want to come out a little bit?
Each one of these birds has a distinct personality, is that right?
And each bird has a different relationship with the other birds. Snowy, for whatever reason, she does not like tying. She will chase him down into the ground where he just gets exhausted. So that's why he's with Snowball. I also have two behind my toilet in the bathroom. That was another one that came in. His name's Freckles, but I call him Freck because all these different names. He was at a shopping mall and he was pretty friendly, and it seemed like some shady kids were kind of messing with him. So they asked me to come out. I don't go out very often to catch birds because I actually have people that will transport them for me. And like I said, I'm trying not to bring any more in because everybody's got their mate now. We finally have settled down to where they all kind of know their place, get along on the most part. So I've got these two back here.
Let's go have a look. Okay, so we're going in the bathroom and we have another
So
one.
this one is Freckles. He is the last one that just came into rescue. And I really wasn't going to keep him, but he hooked up with Splay. Splay has bands around her legs. They hooked up, and I just think that they should be together. So I decided to keep him. It cracks me up. Look how he does the little scoop.
He's doing a little dance.
He's courting her. He loves her.
Oh, it's Pigeon love.
And it's good for her. They pick on her a lot because she can't get out of the way or she can't move too well. So it's a nice relationship they have.
Who do we have here?
This is Mouse. And I know that's a funny name, but I don't know. I looked at him one day. I got him as a little baby and I hand fed him. I don't know why, but his face looked like a little mouse. And I'm really bad with names. If it's not something I can remember, it doesn't last. So he is the only one, as well as Ladybird the duck, the only one that doesn't wear a poop suit. But he comes out and, come on, Mouse. Come on. Come on, Mouse. You can come out. He comes out on his own. We can look at Ladybird if you want, and then he will
Sure.
come out.
Okay,
So,
let's do that.
this is Ladybird.
This is Ladybird
Yeah.
right here. Hello.
Ladybird came from Hesperia Lake that I partner with. It was a bad mating year. I really don't like the dynamics, but they basically love the one they're with, which is all the time. So I tell people the ratio for ducks is 1 male if you have them as pets. It's 1 male, and I like 6 females to 1 male. That's how hard the males will breed the females. And if you don't have that ratio, you're taking the risk that they're going to beat the females up because they jump on their backs, they bite their necks, and also too, they are really strong maters in water. So usually they end up drowning the female after a while because the female's just exhausted off that. Ladybird came from the lake. She could barely walk. She also had what's called as bumblefoot. Anybody that has poultry should be checking for bumblefoot. And I always suggest to people, if you have like a large flock, is that you get the little zip ties. They make them short, and you check your birds. You start checking them. You stick a little zip tie on them, and you go through your whole flock. And then after you've checked your whole flock, you start taking the zip ties off so that you know, because bumblefoot is treatable. But if not, it goes sepsis. It goes up into their legs. It goes up into their bones, and in time it takes over and kills them. So that is kind of what happened to Ladybird. She got all treated. She's kind of a spaz. So she went on to live at my friend's aviary that takes a lot of the birds. I don't normally keep them. I fix them. I do a lot of medical, and I work with my vet friend. So the problem is with Ladybird, the sepsis went into her leg, and I'll show you. Here's her bad leg, and it's not super hot, but it is warm. So she perpetually is going in, and out of infections, and so from right. This is what I tell Ladybird. You're so pretty mean. I know, you're a very pretty mean bird. She was not doing well out there. She could not really get around. So I told my friend Jessie, I said, you know, I got to take her. I'm going to take her. She was in very poor condition. And it's hard when you have a lot of birds, you know, and you're seeing them every day. You don't always realize, but I tell people you really got to be paying attention. Part of being a duck, poultry owner, whatever, geese, is when you're out there to be assessing them, not just, you know, giving them food, water, snacks, whatever. But you need to be assessing their health. They're depending on us, you know, because they are pets, just like your dog, you know, or a cat. So I brought her home, and pretty much it was to die. I wanted to give her a comfortable ending. 8 months later, she's fatter than ever, very healthy, as you can see. She's very white and full. She loves swimming in the tub. She also goes outside. So I guess I got myself a duck.
Okay, what are we doing now?
So we're getting the tub ready for Ladybird. She usually bathes twice a day, and she has a really good time. Ladybird knows her schedule. She knows it really well. So I don't want it super cold, but I don't want it hot. And I put a little bit of water in here because her legs are spanned. It's hard. So basically when she's in the water, she's like a normal duck again. You know, she can swim, and she doesn't have to worry about falling over and her legs, you know.
So this is like duck rehab.
Yeah, it is. Nobody wants to just sit around all day and do nothing, you know. So she gets up in the morning, or I should say I get up in the morning, and we get her in the bathtub, and then she'll go in her little container. And the reason why the container is small, I've tried bigger containers, like it's very hard on her legs. And because of the sepsis that she has in her legs, I really don't want her overworking her legs. So that's why we resorted to the smaller.
So the pool noodles are up here because she was really shredding up the wings?
Yes. And I didn't want her to break her blood feathers. That would not be good, because then they can actually bleed out.
All right, so we're taking her off to the bath,
On,
off to the pond.
I call her Toots sometimes. I think she likes it. Okay, Toots! There you go, baby.
Oh, look at that. Oh, she likes that. Yeah, enjoying that.
So this lets her feel like a regular duck and not intimidated.
And does she like to have a shower?
She does. She learned that trick on her own. I don't even know if it's a shower, it's a massage. And she sits under there, and it's just, she's on her back. It's going to be easier for her when it gets a little more water. See, right now she's still pretty dependent on her legs. But once the water starts filling up, she can do more of a paddle.
So this is the queen of the roost here. Am I right?
Absolutely. And the queen likes to have her body massage when she gets under the shower water.
Okay. So, do you want to get under the shower? Have a nice little shower there? Yeah, she will when she's ready, she says.
These are like dried mealworms. Yeah, your snacks. And bread is not good, but we give her a few. She likes them.
Little snacks, little
Yeah.
happy snacks. Oh,
And she knows. She knows. When she's decided it's snack time, she'll call me. So I try to give her a lot of tub time, because this is the time, she's just a normal duck.
She's connecting with her duckness. How much did you know about birds before you started all this?
Nothing.
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 How did you learn everything?
Well, my vet friend helped me. I'm very, very fortunate that he helped me basically at my disposal. in the beginning, especially with the lake birds, you know, when you're dealing with a Canadian goose, or, I mean, you're dealing with some pretty powerful birds. Google is a great source. Birds are birds. And that may not be the right thing to say when somebody's dealing, you know, with a rapture or something. I get it. They're different. The medication's different, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of the things that birds have, their problems, are same across the board. You know, with the little variants, of course. I Googled a lot. I learned a lot. I probably could put stitches in, but my vet friend says, just bring them over here, you know, and I'm like, okay. I've had birds that are shot. I had a bird that the hole went all the way through. Luckily, it didn't hit any organs, but the bullet went all the way through its chest. I've had a bird where the leg, when I touched it, blood started squirting. This is a pigeon. This is a small bird. Blood started squirting on my mirror. I was in the bathroom. I pushed it back together. I mean, blood, so much blood. You know, I pushed it back together. I wrapped it up. I got him over to my vet, probably, I don't know, 4 days later. He looked at it and he goes, I don't know how you did it. He goes, but you got it to line up perfect. And that bird went on to be released at that time. I do a lot of research. I now have, like in my email, bird medicine, all different treatments, all different dosage, you know, so I can just quick refer to what I need to do. Wrapping wings.
How much of your life is taken up by doing all this with the birds?
Well, now that I'm down to about 14 birds, I have a good 3 hours into it every day, which is split because I do their suits in the morning and then I do their suits later in the day. Ladybird swims twice a day, you know, give her some entertainment, a life. Last summer, I just moved 19 pigeons over to my aviary at a friend's house. At that point, before they were moved, I was doing 31 poop suits twice a day. Of course, they would go out in the aviary a lot of times. After they left, I was like, I don't even know how I did that. That is a lot of poop suits, you know. That's basically 60 poop suits a day. So, and then of course, I have the cleanup and the feeding and everything. I don't even know. Basically, between work and the birds, it was everything, you know, it was pretty much my life. Now I have this. I start work at about anywhere between 3 and 4:30 in the morning. I work for a company. I do work from home. I have to say that. So basically I roll out of bed, I start work, but my company's on the East Coast. So I work on that time. So I get them all going and they were just taking up so much of my life. You know, it's like I needed to do them. I'm not going to cook dinner, you know what I mean? And then after I did them, it's like I didn't have the energy to cook dinner because it was almost bedtime to get up in the morning and do it again. So now what I do is, because I get up so early, by 6 o'clock, these birds are in their poop suits, 6:30, 7. Ladybird's in the tub by 7, and I start the whole round again by 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and so by 2:30, I'm done. So I'm off work, and all the birds are done. I'm not saying I might not do a little bit here or there, but I'm not going, okay, Carol, you know, it's time to start the whole round all over again. So it's a pretty good schedule now. And I'm trying really hard, especially with the bird flu, not to bring any more in. I'm doing more referrals and getting the birds the help they need. People are asking me about for their own ducks, chickens, birds, and over the years I've kind of had to quit helping the whole, or everybody, because they have resources. They can Google, you know, there's groups that they can get in and ask questions, and also too, they can get a vet to look at their bird. So I'm dealing now, on the most part, with just wild birds that really have no one will take responsibility and say, I'll do the best I can to get this bird to thrive and go on to have a nice life. So that's how I've got all them, and all of them came in with an issue. If we couldn't get them back with their parents, or they were getting picked on. I got a couple friends that have birds that were out in like barn situations where the other birds or hawks would go in there. And so we pulled them, and then I would finish up the hand feeding And it's fun. It's obviously you get attached too. You know, they're cute little birds that come in, and that was kind of the situation with Tiny Whiny. This is Tiny Whiny in the red birdie suit. He cried. He cried non-stop. The only time he didn't cry is when he was sleeping. So I named him Stop it, Whiny. Stop it, Whiny. Plus, I work from home, and it's just like whiny nonstop. And so that's how he got the name Tiny Whiny. So now I just call him Tiny. So luckily, he outgrew it. That's how I learned.
How many of the birds do you find yourself, and how many are birds that people bring into you?
I don't find any.
Okay, you don't find any yourself.
Except for the lake. Except for the lake, of course, because we're going out there and we're trying to get fishing line off their legs so that they don't lose a limb. But I do go out there. But no, I don't. Everybody brings them to me, or I have people that will transport them for me.
Now, what are some of the other birds that you've rescued that we're not seeing today? What are some of the species?
The last 3 weeks, I've had 3 owls. One is out at our lake. He was grounded, which is not healthy. Don't you fight. She's going to take on Min.
Uh-oh, we don't need a bird fight here, do we? No.
Min's pretty mellow. See. Mouse likes to be with the big birds and has a big attitude and personality. He has no problem taking them on.
Okay, so...
Hold on.
Oh.
That's what I was doing over here.
Uh-oh, do we have a bad birdie?
They get into everything.
Uh-oh, bad birds.
Decided to have snacks.
Who's looking guilty over here?
They're getting into Tine's food.
Which one of you is the guilty one? All of you?
All of them.
Every one of you.
Oh. They're not really supposed to be on the stove, but it's a free-for-all day.
They're like dogs with wings getting in the food. You got that guilty look about you, don't you?
That one's Mindy.
Hey, Mindy. Pretty poop suit there, all stripy.
Mindy couldn't walk when she came in. She was very, very young. I was hand feeding her, and she couldn't walk. So I banded her legs, and she finally stood up. Eventually started taking some steps.
She's gonna peck at me. Huh?
I love Mindy.
Hi, Mindy. Oh, she's pecking.
In the last 3 weeks, it's been owls. 2 were very, very young. They came out of the nest. Both of them went to rehabbers. I don't do raptures. I do a lot of referrals. A lot of referrals. Just like with Pigeon stuff, I'm going to be doing, I've got a whole list of referrals because, like I said before, I'm not really wanting, I've got a nice little group here. I got my hands full. I don't really want to risk bringing in other ones, you know, that may have the bird flu. There's a lot of things that they can get and bring in. So everybody goes into quarantine for a week to 2 weeks. That's not to say, you know, I'm saying that they don't bring something in.
Have you rehabilitated any geese?
A lot of geese. A lot of times the line is too tight, and they need some time to, the fishing line is too tight around there, and they need some time to recover. So I'll bring them here, and once they start pacing the crate, kind of start slamming their body, I'm like, it's time to go back. So we've done that, done some ducks. There's a bunch of them around the time of Ladybird. A lot of waterfowl that aren't from Hesperia Lake, but people just contacting me, and I'll refer them on. Wetlands is a good place for them to go. Wetlands is excellent. So I basically point them in the direction, you know, and tell them, you know, this is where this bird needs to go. The hardest thing about all of this is that people will wait. And a lot of times they'll, you know, I'll look at that bird and I'm like, it's pretty much a goner. And I'm like, how long have you had it? Well, we've had it a week. And I said, what has it been eating? Well, we tried to feed it some of this. We tried, and I said, has it ate? Well, no. So basically, on top of whatever the problem was, it's died of starvation. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them, I just tell them, you know, you need to call animal control and you need to have that bird put down because it's cruel now. It's too far gone to try to help it make a comeback, you know. And a lot of A lot of broken wings or sprained wings, same thing. And this is true with people too. Once you break something, from the point that it breaks, it starts to heal. So say a bird gets a break, 5 days later, you can't wrap it, you can't, it's already starting to heal, broken, you know. So if it's a dragger, it's starting to heal, drag down. And so that's hard. You know, if you would have contacted me the day you found it, even the day after, you know, we could have maybe at least tried. I'm not saying that we could have fixed it, but we had a fighting chance.
So if anybody finds a bird out there that's injured, give it immediate attention.
Right. Find someone that knows, has experience with this, not just trial and error, but experience. And also too, baby birds, most of the baby birds should be put back in the nest, or a makeshift nest can be put. It doesn't have to be right where the nest is. It can just be close by. And if the bird chirps, the baby chirps, the parents will find it. They're very dedicated. They will take care of it. If there's something wrong with the bird, or, you know what I'm saying? But it's really hard when people have sat on that bird and it has not ate for 4 days. Like I tell them, I go, when it's laying on its side and its head's down, I go, that's really sad. It's because it has not been fed, you know, and it hasn't had the heat. Birds are like newborn babies, and especially you get a newborn, you know, a bird that just hatched, you know what I'm saying? You have to know the anatomy of how to feed it, and, you know, the proper temperature it needs to be at, and they can thrive. They can thrive. And probably one of the biggest reasons why I've had so much success is because I always had a bunch. You know, so when a pigeon came in, it learned from the other pigeons once it was old enough, and sparrows, this and that, you know, like maybe it didn't eat at first, but it saw the other ones opening its mouth. That's kind of how it catched. But yeah, the biggest thing is, you know, I know everybody was, oh, they're so cute, and, you know, we want to try to help it. But the sad thing is, a lot of times you're just prolonging a very slow, agonizing death, when if you get it in the right hands, you know, or back with the parents. For example, many birds, it's a sprain. It's not a break. If we had a bad sprain, we don't want to go out and run a marathon. It takes time. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they just need time, and they can remain. That's their family. That's their flock. You know, and as much as we go, oh, we want to help this bird, what's fair is if the bird can, to stay with its spouse, with its, you know, with its flock.
Yeah, and I want to add something that people often make the mistake when they see a young fledgling bird that has enough energy to fly out of the nest onto the ground but hasn't yet learned to fully fly. They think, oh, you know, we might need to rescue that bird, take it home. But the fact is, the mother bird, the parent birds, are not far away watching it, and that bird in a couple of days will be flying probably.
Exactly. So a sparrow can be grounded. Everything is proximates, but a sparrow can be grounded, you know, for 3+ days, maybe even up to a week, depending on how much it exercises. People will send me a picture, and I'm like, that bird is too chubby. There's no way could it get in the air. They're out there exercising, and, you know, it's really hard. You know, I'll direct people when it's really hot, you know, to bring them in maybe during the day and then put them back out, you know what I'm saying, when it's cooler. Because when it's 100 degrees, obviously we're all wilting. My son has a lot of ravens around his house. A raven can be grounded, a fledgling, and a fledgling is when they've left the nest, but they are not flying yet, or they're very young adults. And the parents are still continuing to care for them. And even when they're up in the air, the parents are still feeding them and taking care of them. You know, that's still part of their social skills until they learn to hunt or, you know, get their own food. But, yeah, it's really hard. In like July, you know, I go over to my son's house, and there's a raven, rah, 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 and his parents are up in the tree, you know. And I told my son, I go, oh man, you know, and he goes, every year, Mom, every year. So in reality, in nature, only the strong are really meant to survive. I mean, I know we want to save everything, and many things should be saved, but then a lot of times people will contact me, and I'm like, that bird's more gone than okay, you know, and it's cruel. It's cruel to keep something, trying to pump the life into something that really was not meant to survive, because out in the wild, only the strong are meant to survive.
Now, the only birds you don't accept here are birds of prey, right? Or do you take care of any of the birds of prey for a lengthy amount of time? No.
I've had them here before they go on to, you know, a rehab or something, but no, I'm not anymore. They're a lot. One year, this is a long time ago, I had a hawk. It was a juvenile, and it was under somebody's car for 3 days. And my friend and I, we went out and we caught it, and I ended up with it at my house until we could get it down to India. I spent $200 with frozen mice, because that bird could eat like 10 frozen mice a sitting. And I was like, and then, you know, I work full time too. Then I had to find the place for it to go, because it obviously has to go to a rapture, you know, someone who's licensed for them. And then I drove it down to India, took a day off work and drove it down to India. So I was like, no, no. It's better if they go straight from wherever they are down to where they should be.
I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about birds with Carol here in the Mojave Desert, Victorville, California. Don't forget to give me a like on the video, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Rockhopper. I'll see ya.